To see so many of our employees and physicians who really, so everyone knows, stayed the course with us over many, many months to get this done and never wavered from our #1 mission, which is quality patient care. And we're honored to have special guests with us today to help usher in the important milestones in the history of these hospitals. I'd like to welcome and thank Governor McKee for being here, whose leadership was instrumental in helping Charter Care to finalize the sale. Likewise, Speaker Saparchi, thank you for being here. And Senate President Lawson, thank you for being here, who brought their respective members together to support and fast-track critical legislation this year. And of course, Attorney General Nerona, who's always taller than me in the room, I've noticed, whenever I've been in the room with him, with his team, along with the Department of Health, who championed the regulatory review process and endless hours negotiating these final details. And joining us also is Ben Mingle, CEO of Centurion Foundation, the organization that designed this complex financial structure that permitted this sale. Ben is also chair of the new Charter Care Health of Rhode Island Board of Directors. And finally, Lynn Blaze, my good friend over many years, a long-term representative of UNAP who's been helpful with us. This is a momentous day for our hospitals and employees. Roger Williams Medical Center, Our Lady of Fatima Hospital, will continue now their vital missions in Rhode Island. We've just finished a brief tour of Roger Williams, and Governor McKee had a chance to meet with our doctors, our nurses, our support staff. And again, we're so pleased that all of you are here today with these leaders who have joined us. So it's now my distinct pleasure to introduce the governor and say a few words.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it is a good day, and it's one that many people, contributed to try to make sure, as I said, that these hospitals would not close, and that we would continue to have this care that the community needs, and the expertise that the doctors and nurses and support staff here represent. So it's not happening without our Speaker, our Senate President, our Attorney General, but this goes deeper than that. It doesn't happen unless we get the bonding done. My Chief of Staff, Tony Afonso, really came through in a big way because that's his expertise. And of course, with Dylan and Shinavi in terms of the infrastructure bank, doesn't happen without the funding. So this was an all-in effort by everyone in the community, and I want to make sure that we continue to recognize everyone who's made this happen and why we made this happen. We made this happen because, one, the health care that these two hospitals provide are needed in our community. And two, we want to make sure we keep people working here to provide that health care. And our UNAP crew, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ben, thank you as well.
Yes,
And it's consistent what we continue going to do, right? Our budgets reflect that health care is important. The fact that we were, making sure that, we make sure we got people back to work at Butler Hospital. I certainly had a role with that in terms of making that happen. Making sure that we are, kept the birthing center open in Newport. That was something that was very important. It took a lot of people to make sure that happened, but not happening without leadership in the General Assembly as well. And we're investing millions of dollars in recruiting strategies to keep our doctors here in the state and keep our nurses here as well. That's going to continue. So I want to just thank everyone for all the work that they've done. And at moments like this, it's worth celebrating, right? We tend to, I'll go put my coaching hat on again. We tend to take the defeats very personally, and they tend to kind of weigh on us, and we don't celebrate the victories that we have in a way that we should. So today is a day to celebrate. Thank you so much, and I'll bring Attorney General.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for your leadership here, and along with the Senate President and the Speaker. Yeah, this is really a good day, for me, the lessons are that healthcare is hard. It's hard to deliver. As many of you know, I have a wife who's a primary care doctor. I have a son who's doing a residency in internal medicine at Northwestern Health in Chicago. So healthcare is up front and central for us at home, and I understand those challenges in a personal way. And I know that where the rubber meets the road is here in the hospital with Lynn and the nurses and the other members of UNAP. I know that UNAP represents more non-nurses than nurses these days, so I know that it's not just about the nurses. I know it's not just about the doctors. It's about everyone here, from folks who work in delivering food service, laundry service, custodial service. It takes a team to make a hospital work and to serve patients. And so the fact that these hospitals will remain open is obviously a really good thing. But one of the lessons I draw too here from today is the need as regulators to have foresight. And the truth is that without the escrow fund that we put in place 3 or 4 years ago, and that was the subject, frankly, of some controversy at the time, but the reason why regulators have to be tough in those situations is because if we don't have that $80 million, we're not able to keep this place open while we're going through bankruptcy court in Dallas. And today, Ben, I think you would acknowledge that you're receiving 40 some odd million dollars from that fund to help this hospital, these hospitals, Frank, together get back to where they need to be, which is state-of-the-art equipment, state-of-the-art infrastructure that the men and women who work in these hospitals and the patients who come here deserve. And we can't let today stand in the way of the work that we need to do going forward, and that is to make our healthcare system stronger, to bring more revenue into that system and drive that revenue to where it needs to be, to delivering care to patients, women, men, and children here in this hospital, in Fatima, and all the other hospitals around the state. So I'm really pleased to be here today. It is a good day. I love what you do. I am a lawyer, and I know that for most medical professionals that strikes fear and horror into your hearts. But I really appreciate what you do, and I admire it. And I wish you all really wish you well, Doctor, you and your team as well. And so now I'll turn it over to my great friend, Speaker Sakarchi.
Thank you. Thank you, General, and thank all of you. Quite frankly and honestly, there were many times that we didn't think this deal was going to happen. It was very, very precarious, to be honest with all of you. And you know why it happened? It happened because everybody worked together to get it done. Any one of us could have said no, and this deal would have never happened. It was all working together, and it's not just the governor, the Senate president, the attorney general, myself. It was a whole bunch of other people as well. It was the bankruptcy court judge who showed a great deal of leniency and latitude. One of her comments was she saw what happened at Brown University, and she was touched about, if I close these hospitals, where would those patients and where would those victims go? So why did we do it? Well, we've heard about it. We did it for several reasons, 2 chief reasons: for health care, for patient care, and for all of you and the jobs. Because it's critically important that we continue to keep these hospitals open for the population that they serve, but also, to be honest with you, it would have had a very negative impact if these hospitals closed on the other hospitals in our healthcare system, and we couldn't afford that. So I want to thank Ben and his team. I'm happy to be here today. I'm happy to celebrate this day and with all of you, and I'm thrilled and overwhelmed. And part of that is as much as I like him, I don't have to get my 6 o'clock in the morning calls from Chris Vitale and my 10 o'clock at night text. Speaker, can you talk? Are you away? Are you here? And every one of them, he was trying to salvage this deal. And Chris, to you, your credit, your team, I don't know if Richard Barrett is here as well, but some very good lawyering. And there's one person who's not here I want to recognize. I think the governor mentioned him. And it was so critical important how we structure this and how we executed the $18 million. And that was, honestly, Tony Alfonso. He's the governor's chief of staff, and he's a very good one, by the way. But beyond that, he's a brilliant bond lawyer. And it was only because we had him at the table that we were able to put together a deal that the Senate President and I had a lot of confidence in, that we could push through the General Assembly. If we had these discussions, if you asked me January 1st, what's the biggest and most important thing you're going to do in the first 60 days, I would have never said an $18 million bond backstop to preserve these hospitals. So that's how quickly and how dedicated everybody at the table got together to work together to make this happen. And a critical and key part of that is my very good friend, somebody who worked tirelessly hard to make sure that these hospitals stayed open. She is the Senate President, and she is phenomenal, and I'm proud to call her my good friend, Senator President Val Lawson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be here and to be part of this team in this collaborative effort to make sure that these hospitals remain open, because it's so vital to our state, and it has been our collective #1 priority. So to be here today is just a great path forward for all of us. And I want to thank Ben Mingle, Centurion. We appreciate you and we welcome you to Rhode Island. Also, as I want to echo what the speaker said, everyone's involvement, collective effort. Certainly also want to thank my staff, John Fleming and Stephen Hayes, for their assistance for the Senate part of this and shepherding this through. Also want to thank your staff too, the Attorney General, because they were vital in this process as well with Tony. So I think that's all overly important. And from the beginning, I think we've said collectively, like, failure was never an option here for Rhode Island. So being here today and getting this done is so important to the healthcare infrastructure today. I also too want to thank all the workers here for your efforts on a daily basis. We're happy to be here to celebrate this monumentous day, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce someone who, fights for working people and serves them at the same time, President of UNAP, Lynn Blaze.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lynn Blaze. I'm a registered nurse. I actually have 42 years as a registered nurse within this system. I started at St. Joe's. I moved up to Fatima. But my real interest in nursing started when I was a candy striper in these very halls when I was probably 12 or 13 years old. So today is an extremely good day. I'll probably now be able to say I can finish my career in the place where I started it. And that's huge. That's so important for me and my fellow coworkers. I'm thrilled that we're out of the bankruptcy court in Texas. I'm thrilled beyond belief that we've got the corporate greed of for-profit healthcare out of our hospitals. I can't thank enough Governor McKee, Speaker Sakachi, President Lawson, and all the legislators who moved mountains to get the $18 million backstop that we needed done in what I consider a record-breaking time. Without that $18 million, I think we would be in a different place today. I'd also like to thank Attorney General Nerona, who has always had our back. He has structured a deal with many safeguards for the patients, the community, and the staff. Finally, I see the true heroes in this success of the closing are the staff members who have kept these doors open over the last several years, providing exceptional care during extremely stressful times. We've waited a long time for this day to come. We look forward to moving forward with the hopes that the hospital administrators acknowledge the commitment, the dedication of their staff, as well as be able to attract new staff to continue to have these hospitals grow and be an intricate part in this community. So I thank everybody for coming. I thank everyone that's here for their hard work, because without you, none of this would have been possible. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the man who had came to the rescue so that we could move forward, and that is Ben Mingle.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Mingle. I'm with the Centurion Foundation, and I'm the chairman of the board of Charter Care Health of Rhode Island. Today is a day of celebration. We worked on this for over 4.5 years. I'm not sure everyone knows that.
I do.
It wasn't easy. I was kind of making some jokes here earlier. It was easy. It was very hard. It was probably one of the hardest things we've ever done. My wife is a 20-year veteran of the healthcare industry. We care very much about making sure healthcare in this country is sustainable and cost effective, and we are passionate about that, and passionate maybe to a fault. And the fault is we push this further than anybody probably ever thought possible. But we were committed to seeing this through. We didn't care what happened if we failed. We wanted to see this to the end. So, there's been some great remarks here today. I can't thank enough the employees and the staff and the nurses and everyone that stayed to see this organization through and to see the new future that we're going to set for this place. I also want to thank all the state leaders here today. They were collaborative. Politics is messy. I'm not a politician. Everyone knows that. I'm just going to tell you what I think. Politics is messy. It was a real collaboration the last 6 to 9 months or a year, however long. It started with Peter 4 or 5 years ago with those conditions. We couldn't have been here without that. We couldn't have been here without what these three did to get the legislation passed. We are so thankful for that, and we are so excited to see the new future of the organization. So, and yes, Chris Vitale did do some amazing work here. Thank you so much, Chris and Richard and Jeff. Thank you for staying the course. I think Jeff had to tell everybody the same answer over and over again for a year and a half, and I think he lost a lot of credibility for that. So the real person you should blame is me, and I hope you don't have my number, but thank you, Jeff. David, thank you. You worked really hard. With that, I didn't even prepare remarks. I just winged it today, but really, really thankful and really excited about the future here.
So while you're all here, I think we all owe these people another round of applause,
Yep.
please.
Ben, could you come to the microphone for a question?
Sure.
How long will it take for it to be clear whether your turnaround plan is working?
Healthcare is a day-to-day business, right? And it changes constantly. We expect in the first year to get this organization back to a break-even level. From running it incorrectly, tremendous losses in the past, but running it on a not-for-profit basis and doing the right things, we think we can get it back to break-even in the first year.
Ben, now that the deal has closed, can you share any more details about the terms of the bond sale, who the investors are, the interest rates, the debt payments?
Yeah,
term sheet
all that.
perhaps?
Yeah, all that'll be on the internet when the bonds are closed and filed. It'll all be out on Emma.
Okay.
You can
when
grab
do the bonds close?
today. Yeah, so it'll get recorded and out on Emma over the weekend or early next week.
Ben, what reassurances can you give the public that these hospitals will be financially stable under your ownership?
Well, I think, and I think I've said this since the very beginning, right? You have to have a healthcare ecosystem that works. We clearly have state leadership that's focused on that healthcare ecosystem, and you have to do the right things as a management team. So you're going to keep fixing it. Healthcare is not static. There's going to be, we all know what happened this past year with the federal regulation and what that's doing to healthcare. We're going to change to make sure it's sustainable. What we do today won't work tomorrow. And that's healthcare. And so we're going to be in here every day with our sleeves rolled up, working hard with the whole team, doing the right things to make the organization sustainable.
What will look different if you're inside one of these hospitals in the near future?
Well, I think you're going to see investment in the equipment that's being utilized to provide the care and provide the services. Some areas of the hospitals have been updated recently. Many of them haven't. You're going to see that difference. Hopefully, you're going to see some relief on the staff about the certainty of their future, and that's going to help them be able to provide better care to the patients. I mean, that's what I would hope, and probably clean the parking lots up.
Ben, I know that when the state was in talks with Prime Healthcare, you wrote to the court and to state lawmakers, and you were not happy, and you said that this was making this deal harder to close. Has that affected your ability to work with the state leaders who went?
No, not at all. I was being direct and honest and transparent and genuine. I'm not mad at anybody, but I thought it was making it harder.
Governor, do you have a comment on that?
No, we got it over the finish line. That's the only comment I have.
We got where we wanted to be. We weren't going to give up until we got where we wanted to be, which was make sure these caregivers can provide care for this community.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And again, thank you for your support. Great job.
Thank you so much. Unbelievable job.
Good luck. Keep posted. Let me know if you need anything.
Yes, sir.
Sure, we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. We're going to be working hard.